Flosstube, this is Kim back with my third Flosstube video. Today is Monday, February 11th. I did get a new haircut and she cut it a lot shorter than I'm used to, but that's it's about a ½ inch shorter than I usually get it cut, but that's what goes along with moving to a new place and finding a new hairdresser, is trying to tell them exactly what you want. But I'll be okay in about a month when it grows out to where I'm comfortable. Anyways, as I said, it's Monday the 11th. We're expecting 3 to 5 more inches of snow, which always seems to come Sunday nights, Monday mornings. But there was no school delays today, so that's good. Last Friday, it did get down to negative 53 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind chill again, which I looked up is about negative 47 degrees Celsius. It was bitter cold, and that happened to be the day my husband had to shoot outside for his 9mm requalification training. So needless to say, he was wearing long underwear under his uniform and drank lots of coffee to try to keep him warm. The noise you're hearing is Hopper climbing around his cage. He's a little excited because he just untied a knot which made a toy fall to the ground in his cage. So now he's up to trouble trying to figure out if, after I fixed it and put it back up, if he's going to do the same thing or if he wants to talk to you guys just like I am and be a part of the conversation. Let's see. Thanks to Nicole Buckeye Stitcher for giving me a shout out. She was a little impressed and overwhelmed that I had 17 whips. Well, Nicole, I started another. I'm at 18 now, but you'll see that later in the video. Okay, for last week's Magical Stitches homework, it was making Polyjuice Potion. So I did a variety of projects, like I explained. The first one I worked on for the ingredient knot grass. So you had to stitch 100 stitches on something with grass. I worked on the 1930 Alfa Romeo car. Let me show you a picture of what it looks like, because I actually brought the magazine this time. Magazine is 365 cross-stitch designs. This is from 2015, so it's a little old. That's the front cover. And the car in question is that green one. I did change the color of the grass because it looks kind of pukey green there. So I chose my own color for the car. And then, so I finished the grass and did a little bit on that front tire. And the black panel behind it. So those were my 100 stitches for knot grass for my Polyjuice Potion. Next was bicorn horn. You had to work on something that was hard to find or out of print. And I also worked on the same ingredient for a bit of the person you want to turn into or something you weren't able to stitch. So I pulled out Macintosh Mill Dimensions Kit, art by Charles Wysocki. This is extremely hard to find. And I was unable to stitch it after I saw a finish. I think it was Pyrex stitches, her finish that I saw. So because I had to do 2 ingredients, I did 200 stitches on that one. So I did some more black and all this blue. This is going to be the background, kind of like this, of a sign that says ice cold cider, I believe. Yes, ice cold cider is what's going to go there. So a big block of color to help me get my 200 stitches. And I finished up that window up there too. So, and then the next ingredient was fluxweed picked at the full moon, which you had to have a night scene or something on dark fabric. And lacewing flies, something that flies. So I worked on Trick or Treat, because as you can see there's a witch flying on a broomstick, and It's a night scene because you go trick-or-treating at night. And this is the one I'm stitching Extreme Cross Country, doing all the black first. I started at the bottom. So I was doing all the partial pages at the bottom, so it's a skinny little section. Because this is tent stitches, I had to double my stitches, so that was actually 400 stitches I had to do for the homework last week. And then I was close to finishing. I was working over in this corner. I was close to finishing this last page, so I just went ahead and finished that page. But I'm also working on this piece for this week's homework, so I've already gotten a head start on that. This week's homework, we actually have to take our polyjuice potion. So you have to work on something that you modified, which I'll show you, and something with a cat on it, and something with ghosts. Well, Trick or Treat has both a black cat and ghosts. So, this is the black area that I finished for last week for the polyjuice potion. And up here is what I'm doing today. You can see there's my black cat is starting to show up. This is for something that I already finished the 400 stitches this week for something with a cat on it. So now I'm going to keep going up this page, which ends up here. Keep going on this page to get something with a ghost, so another 400 stitches. And then in February extra credit, one of the tasks is 200 stitches on something with a scary animal. Well, this has little dragons. Someone asked if a cat was scary and they said yes. So I'm going to use this for that extra credit task as well, which means 400 more stitches. So we'll get 1,200 stitches on it this week. And I've already got 400 done. But there's all the black on the bottom row. And then I'll just keep doing this page and go across. So that's Trick or Treat by Randall Spangler. It's on 25 count, easy count. 2/1 continental tent stitch. Okay, the next ingredient was boom slang skin. So 100 stitches on something with skin. I worked on Guinevere's face in Camelot Sampler. This is all 1/1. So it's teeny tiny little stitches. And 100 stitches doesn't really go anywhere, so she looks really weird. But that's a start on her face. And this is what the piece looks like. So her face will get there eventually. Let's see. So that was the end of my homework, and it was only Tuesday. So I had the whole rest of the week to work on what I wanted. I decided to pull out Beauty and the Beast 2017 by Tilton Crafts because Full Coverage Fanatics, it's fantasy or fairy tales is the monthly Sal theme. Also, it's Fairy Tale February and Stitch Mania. So I decided I was going to work on this piece. It's also in Full Coverage Fanatics. I'm doing it for by the numbers 1,200 stitches. But again, I do tent stitch, so I had to do 2,400 stitches. And making all my stitches count where I can. February extra credit and magical stitches. It's work on a piece that's howling for attention. Well, this is certainly howling for attention. Plus the beast roars a lot in the movie, doesn't he? And also, once I did that, you needed 500 stitches, so 1,000 tent stitches. And then another task was work on a piece that's sluggish. And while this one does stitch up faster than some of my Hades, I'm only on page 8 of 30. And I started this in 2017. And I'm only on page 8, so it's definitely going to take me a while, which qualifies as sluggish. This piece is special to me and our family because it's the first movie that I took my oldest daughter to go see in the movie theater. So it was the first one she was able to sit through, and we both loved it. So all that, I needed 2,400 stitches for By the Numbers and 2,000 stitches for February extra credit total. And I did all, the page starts right about here. And I did all that hair in 2 days. There's only about 4 or 5 colors there. So as I do cross country by color, just searching the symbol in Easy PDF and zipped right through it. So that's over 2,400 stitches. So I finished my By the Numbers. I will probably work on this piece more this month and might shoot for that page finish. There's the whole piece. So there's just more shading in those lines for her hair. Not quite sure whether there's a straight line across, but that's how the pattern goes. I think she's got a wispy hair in a different color. So that's what'll go there. So that's Beauty and the Beast. And since that only took me 2 days, that brought me to Thursday. Well, that's 3 more days until the next week's homework comes out. So what do I work on? Well, I was working on Moon Hare every single day for the Full Coverage Fanatics 90-day challenge. And it just was dragging on and on because of all the confetti. Trying to get this page finished. So I decided I have 3 days and nothing that I had to do. And one of the February extra credit tasks is work on a piece that moans for Moaning Myrtle. Well, confetti stitches certainly make you moan and groan. So I was trying to finish this page with the 2 yellow flowers. And I worked exclusively on this piece. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So instead of just doing a little bit each day, it was the only piece I worked on, and I pushed myself hard to try to get that done. I estimate that I got around 1,500 stitches, confetti stitches done in those 3 days. And I got the page finish and the row finish. So there he is. Back up so you can see all of them, all of him. You can see I got 1 row of partial pages left. They're about 2/3 of a full page. And on that sheet of paper with the line that I drew. So look at all those more flowers I get to do. Oh joy. Lots more confetti coming up to get that bottom row done. And this piece, you know, in my whip parade, I said that you could kind of see some page lines. Besides the checkerboard you can see in the moon, the page lines aren't as easy to see because it's lighter colors. You can kind of see one on that first page, but it's definitely not as easy to see. So I was lazy and I didn't feather as much at the bottom of that page. But if I get close, you can see it. And if it focus, there it goes. You can see all those colors. Even in the little leaves. All those colors. So I'm glad to have him done. Since this is a Monday, I do have to update my 90-day challenge post. I'll grid that bottom row and do a couple of stitches. I probably won't do that much today because I'm a little sick of this piece. Not totally burned out, but now that I'm on a new row, I can do the bigger blocks of color again. So there's Moon Hare. Now, Moon Hare is such a crowd favorite on Instagram. My name is Spartan Stitcher, and also in the 2 videos I've made so far. Everyone just loves him. So much so that last year when I did the top 9 of 2018, where you go to the website and it tells you what your top 9 most liked pictures were, 5 of them, focus, 5 of the 9 at the time were updates on Moon Hare. Come on. Focus, thank you. 5 of the 9 were updates on Moon Hare. I had some big finishes last year. I did 2 small Hade finishes. I had Red Velvet Cake by Glendon Place, Guardians of Notre Dame by Ingleside Imaginarium, Christmas Rules by Lizzie Kate. Not a single finish was in my top 9 because everybody loves Moon Hare so much. So that was kind of interesting. Okay, so I got the page finished yesterday, Sunday, like right after lunch. So I still had a lot of time, and we were lazy yesterday. We didn't go anywhere. We just did some house cleaning. So I still had more time. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to start something new. But before I did that, I decided, after watching Michelle Bendy Stitchy's video, to start the process to FFO some things. I worked on 3 pieces. I only have 1 finished because I need to go to the store and get a few small things for the other 2. But the one that I finished is from Mania 2016. So it is well past due to get fully finished. It is Chicks by Lizzie Kate. It's a small. It only took me a couple of days to stitch up. And I made it into a cute Easter decoration. So this is a like a galvanized steel basket. There's styrofoam in there, and then I glued some of this lichen from the modeling section of Hobby Lobby. So you have Chicks is on mounting board, some pale yellow fabric is on mounting board, magneted to the basket, and these are ceramic eggs, so they can't break. At least not with a little bit of playing by the kids. So, and you can see there's more of the lichen on the inside. And since this is on a magnet, I can take it off and change it up for different seasons, different times of the year. So, this fabric, I don't know what it is. It's a linen, but it came with the chart when I bought it from Knots and Needles, which is the LNS in Bossier City, Louisiana, back in 2015, 2016 time frame. So, and I would have used the DMC conversion called for in the chart instead of fancy floss. So that was my FFO yesterday. And then my new start, my friend Debbie and Ann P helped me decide which one to start, since I had several items kitted up that I was interested in starting. And they both chose Friendship Compass by Glendon Place. This is a free chart for anyone in her Facebook group, the Glendon Place Stitchers. I think it's from 2015 or 2016. It is a mandala type design, so it's completely symmetrical. So you can kind of see. The neat thing about this, there's 6 floss colors and 4 bead colors, and none of them are specified in the pattern. You get to choose everything yourself. So for this week's homework, for the Polyjuice Potion, work on something you modified. Well, this is completely modified because I chose all the colors myself. What I did, my grandmother was never a cross stitcher, but she did have some floss. I think she used it to help like hand tie her quilts, or I don't know. I never knew that she stitched, but I was given all her leftover bobbins, and my husband's grandmother, who's still living, made us a quilt as a wedding present, and that quilt is on our guest bedroom, on our guest bed. And so what I did is I looked at the bobbins from my grandma and picked out colors that matched the quilt in the guest room. And the fabric I'm using is a 14 count Fiddler's Aida. It's really soft, but the fabric is actually from a D-stash that I found on Facebook Marketplace in 2017. It was the neighbor of the son of a 94-year-old woman who had to be put in a nursing home. And so he gave all her stash to the neighbor, and she sold it. And then there was finished pieces, there was lots of floss, some of it labeled, some of it not, lots of Ada, and a few whips. I know her name is Sue. I kept a few of the finished pieces myself. I took some others to Julie at Reflections and let other people look at them and take any finishes that they wanted. And one of the finishes that I took, I actually fully finished it into a pillow. And through the neighbor that I had bought her stash from, I tried to find her. She gave me the son's phone number. And I called him, left him a message explaining that I had fully finished pillow and I would like to give it to her, you know, me not knowing her health status, mental status, if she would even appreciate it, but I wanted to make the effort to try to give her a piece of her stitching that was fully finished and could be displayed. But I never heard back from him. So I kept a pillow. It's a Christmas piece with geese on it, so I proudly display that in my home in Christmas time. And in the meantime, I'm using up all her floss and her fabric, and so this friendship compass is kind of like a piece to remember our elders, if you will, people who love us and love stitching. So the colors I chose, they're pinks and greens, and there's a lavender, and I'm also going to use some ecru in there for my 6th color. You can see this one is the only one that's labeled as JP Coates. These were bobbins that my grandmother hand traced and cut out of old gift boxes. I don't know if I'm going to have enough of each color, so what I'm going to do is I started from the center of the pattern and I'm just going to gradually build it symmetrically. So if I do run out of floss, I can just stop. And it should hopefully, you know, be symmetrical enough that I can just keep it that way. So I'm not just going to go straight into a corner and then straight into another corner. I'm going to keep building on it symmetrically. So there's my 14 count Fiddler's Ada. Actually, both greens are in there right now. It's a little hard to tell. Starting on the light pink. So I already did the 100 stitches on this for something that you've modified for this week's homework. But I might also use it for February extra credit for watching the movie. This would be something easy I could stitch on while watching the movie. So that's my start to Friendship Compass by Glendon Place. Okay, so I think that's about it. The plans this week, as I said, I'm going to finish Trick or Treat for this week's homework. And then the February extra credit for the Scary Animal. I'm going to watch the movie one of these nights. And then the only extra credit task that I have left is 500 stitches on a piece with words in it. I think I have about 3 that qualify. One of them's full coverage, so it just depends on if I feel like doubling my stitches or not. And then I'll probably work on either Camelot or Guardian Angel by Lavender and Lace and try to work it into one of the ultimate tasks for the year. Because both those pieces I want to finish this year so I can get 2 birds with 1 stone. So that's my plans for this week. I hope everyone's having a good stitchy day, and I will see you next week, hopefully.